Nobody indeed. What is good? Welcome into Driving the Line, the Overs, the premier college baseball betting show. Welcome to week 7. My name is Alan Belt. So good to see you. Hope you are doing great. Look at this right here. Austin became a YouTube member. Austin, my boy. Appreciate you on that one, man. Thanks for joining the crew. Man, you keep this thing going. Thank you, sir. Bibbo, Fort Bragg is deploying to Iran. 82nd Airborne is on its way. Bibbo, you, everyone in the United States Army, military, all of that, man. You guys be safe. Thank you for what you do, brother. And anything we could do, man, you let us know for real. All right, Bibbo. Thank you, big dog. Thank you to all of you. All right, let's jump into it here. Week 7. Like we said, college baseball's here. It's crazy that we're already in week 7, isn't it? Whale, good evening, crew. Do small things with great love. Whale, 100%, bro. 100%, man. I love that. I love that you say that. That is the absolute best mentality that we need to have, man. You're spot on with it. All right. Week 7, let's go. What do we have? So let's jump into the series that we have this weekend. All right, number 9, Virginia at Boston College. That's going to be good. Number 13, North Carolina at number 23, Notre Dame. Look at Notre Dame doing their thing. Now in the top 25, number 1, UCLA at Iowa. 15th ranked Coastal Carolina at Marshall. Duke at number 10, Florida State. 12th ranked Southern California at Maryland. South Carolina at number 7, Georgia. Number 5, Auburn at Alabama. Got the Iron Bowl coming early. Appalachian State at number 11, Southern Miss. Indiana at number 24, Nebraska. Number 14, NC State at number 3, Georgia Tech. Look at this series right here. Florida at Arkansas. That's right. Non-ranked Florida at Arkansas. Number 25, Texas A&M at Missouri. Number 19, Kentucky at LSU. Number 6, Mississippi State. At number 18, Ole Miss. We get the Iron Bowl and the Egg Bowl baseball versions in the same weekend. Number 20, Oregon at UC Santa Barbara. Number 8, Oklahoma at number 2, Texas. And look at this. The Red River rivalry, the Egg Bowl, and the Iron Bowl all this weekend. And then Tennessee at Vanderbilt. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be a great weekend. Mercer at Oregon State. And then West Virginia. Number 17, West Virginia at 22nd ranked Arizona State. Man, there are some awesome series this weekend in college baseball. Cyclone, evening AB, been busy with work this week, but can't wait till Friday. But me and you have the same feelings on the game tonight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go, man. Dude, Cyclone, it's going to be awesome this weekend, man. Best of luck to your boys at Iowa State, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I think I'm going to be boots on the ground at Clemson, Miami this weekend. Dude, that's fantastic, man. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be a big series. That is a must-win series for both teams right there. All right, let's talk about it. So, leaderboards here. Home runs. Georgia continues to dominate. 80 home runs on the season. Vanderbilt, 56 on the year. Georgia Tech has 50. Dallas Baptist has 50. And Oregon has 48. Now, team runs. Georgia Tech still leading the country. 288 runs scored this year. My goodness. Miami, 256. Texas Tech, 253. Georgia, 251. Virginia at 251 as well. All right, the other side of it, pitching. Strikeouts, LSU, 321. They lead the country. Cal Baptist continues to go. 315 strikeouts as a team on the year. Wake Forest, 301. Ole Miss, 293. Then Oregon State, 284. That list checks out, doesn't it? Well, LSU, we'll see, but the rest of them, yeah, the team ERAs. All right, USC, Southern Cal, 1.83. Team ERA on the year. Look at second place Auburn, which this is fantastic. 2.54 ERA in college baseball in the SEC. Yeah, that's great. And look at the difference between number 1 and number 2. USC, man. Now, it's Tuesday. We're recording this. I'm pretty sure that they're giving up some runs in the midweek right now as we speak. So, yeah, but on the weekends, man, SC's been absolutely handling it. 1.83 team ERA. Auburn, 2.54. Texas comes in third in the country, 2.72, tied with UC Santa Barbara. And then Southern Miss, 2.90. Edwin, hi, crew. Nice to see everybody. Hit like, sub, and join the crew. Edwin, 100%, man. And thank you, brother. Sure do appreciate you, man. You were always positive and spreading it, man. Thank you so much, dude. It means the world, man. Tizzle, that team ERA might be in the 2s after today. Yeah, it's a tough one today. Tough one for SC here. But, yeah, I mean, look at it. Like, just domination, man. from the Trojans here. All right, coming in hot. What do we do here? We try to identify teams that are playing good baseball, and we try to see if we can continue to ride them. UCLA, we haven't moved them not only off this list, off the top of this list. 4-0 again last week. They have Iowa this weekend. We're going to be able to bet them, and we're going to be able to do it. So circle UCLA for this weekend. Arkansas, 4th-ranked Arkansas here. I'll pull this up full screen. You don't need to see my ugly mug. Arkansas 4-1 last week. Taking on Florida at home. Big series here. Florida could be in trouble if Arkansas gives them that work. Mississippi State, 6th ranked. They went 4-0 last week. At Ole Miss, 18th ranked Ole Miss. This is going to be a phenomenal series here. Number 9, Virginia. They went 4-1 this past week. They're at Boston College. I'll tell you this. Look out for runs in this game or this series. Boston College playing well. It's at BC, but Virginia doing their thing. And we're going to continue to talk about what they're doing in game ones of these series. They've still won every game one of a series this year. Not only have they won every game one, they've won each one of them by 2+ runs. So Virginia, again, man, keep an eye on that. Then SC, look at them. 5-0 last week. Absolutely crushed it, man. Trojans entering Tuesday, 24-1 on the year. At Maryland, we're going to be able to bet them. And with SC being on the road, it's a nice little test, man, to get to see it. And we should get some decent prices there. So keep an eye on them. All right, now, teams, the opposite, bounce back, right? Teams that had a bad week, but we might be able to play on a bounce back, or we might circle and say, stay away. Clemson, again, being one of them. We'll get to them in a second. All right, 14th ranked NC State. It wasn't a horrible weekend, 2-2, but they definitely need to just stack up some wins. Just keep stacking wins, win these weekends. But here's the tough part, man. You're going to Georgia Tech. Now, when we figure out where we're going to land in betting this, we're going to get excellent prices here. So, look, if we're in the boat of we just continue to ride Georgia Tech until the wheels fall off, you're going to be able to do it. So circle Georgia Tech. Florida went 1-3. They're at number 4, Arkansas. Oof. This could be tough. This one could be tough. Tizzle, Clemson, and Texas A&M, big bounce back weekends. Let's talk about it. Yeah, Florida and Arkansas. Ooh. There's danger here, but danger on both sides. We're going to get Arkansas at a decent price. Clemson, 2-3 last week. Taking on Miami. Weekend obviously was not good. Kind of got bounced around there. This is going to be a big series for both of these teams. They're going to absolutely need it, which means I would look to totals. You're going to get a lot of runs here. Texas A&M, 25th ranked Aggies, went 2-2 last week. At Missouri, I don't know how I feel about Texas A&M, honestly. Like one way or the other. They're good. They're all right. They're just, I don't know, man. If anybody has a good read on what to do with A&M, let me know. I don't have it. They're just too inconsistent for me. And then Louisiana went 1-3 last week. Take it on UL Monroe. I don't know if I'm going to be betting a ton on Louisiana, but should you want to, that's who they have. All right, trends and note. What do we need to? What are some notes? All right, we can share around with our friends and text chains and bet on this weekend. Virginia, as we talked about, they have won every. I say Friday game. I mean game one of weekend series, but we'll just use Friday, right? Virginia has won every Friday game by 2+ runs. They've won every game and won every one of them by 2+ runs. So circle Virginia in game one's a series. Georgia Tech, averaging 12 runs scored per game. This team is a wagon. And we get them at home. Yeah, NC State might run into it. West Virginia has scored 51 runs over their last 5 games. West Virginia is on fire right now. They look great against BYU, swept them. Mountaineers, dude, they're hitting the ball. 10+ runs scored. Look at this stat. 10+ runs scored in 23 straight Texas Tech games. What does that mean? How many games has Texas Tech played this year, AB? 23. Every game this year that Texas Tech has played in has been double digits. Now, we're not going to get Texas Tech totals at 10. So this stat doesn't fully help you out. There's been a lot of, 7-4, a lot of 11 run games in there, 10 run, few of them. But go take a look. All right, these Texas Tech games, man, runs are way up. Way up. All right. Same deal here, Ohio. Now, Ohio's not a team that we necessarily get to bet on every night and every weekend, right? But they're allowing on average 10 runs per game. We had it last weekend, continue to do it. They are giving up runs left and right, man. Virginia Tech, another team that's doing it. So if you are looking for totals, runs, money lines, whatever, here's a list of some just interesting stats come across. Well, East Carolina, UTSA this weekend is a massive series. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm glad you brought that up, man. It definitely is. East Carolina, like this, not that we're at the tipping point, but we're certainly at the which path are we going to take this season point. You know what I mean? Yeah, I agree. That is going to be a big series. All right. Speaking of under the radar series, what are some other ones that we have here? Miami and Clemson. Yeah. Two teams that were ranked, two teams that'll probably be ranked again. And the big question to ask here is this. All right. And we're going to talk about Clemson in a second. But question to ask here is this. Miami, they kind of back? Is Miami kind of back? And Clemson, this 2 bad weekends, man. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? 18-7. You're all right. Season's fine. But you have a bad series at home. Starts to get tough. South Florida at Charlotte. South Florida 20-4 on the season. Charlotte 15-9. Two teams that we need to be paying attention to more. And when I say we, I mean I need to be bringing them up more on the show to give everybody jobs to do. Hey, that's what we need to do. Hey, everybody's going to get assigned a book report on a team. That would actually be awesome. I would watch those constantly. I would just sit there and watch. Book reports on a team would be great. All right, Kansas, applesauce spray, my bad. Kansas and Cincinnati. Kansas 15-8 on the year. Cincinnati 19-7. Gonna get a ton of runs in this series. A good one here to pay attention to. Two good teams also that we need to circle. Oklahoma State at BYU. Launch pad. The launch pad is open this weekend. I hope nobody from the books is watching this, but if we get any decent totals here, we're going to be jumping all over it. Oklahoma State and BYU there. BYU 10-12 on the year. They're such a fascinating team. Shout out to Oklahoma State, 16-8, man. Looking good. Well, Cincinnati has 3 guys that are over 1,000 on base percentage. Nice. Dude, that's a great stat right there. Boys putting up runs. And then last one. Look at this, okay? I don't know if we're going to be able to bet this or not. But if we do, there could be more runs in this series than the previous 2 combined above. VMI, you're probably looking at me like, who? The Virginia Military Institute. Go look them up. These dudes, every year, rake. 19-4 on the year. Their games are weird and wild, and they're all over the place. And we don't always get to bet them. But sometimes the books slip up and drop them in. So just write down, circle, VMI. All right? This is like, they're like a little lottery ticket that you can keep in your pocket. Their games are wild, man. So they'll be in East Tennessee this weekend. All right, heading down for Virginia. Just keep an eye on that series, man. God, I hope they give us totals on that one. All right, rotation. So we have some decisions we need to make. Now, if you're brand new, what is the rotation? The rotation is essentially, we like to keep track. I do 10 teams here. We like to keep track of teams that we're just consistently betting on, right? There are a lot of games, a lot of teams every single weekend. And it's a sport that it's very difficult to keep up with. You can't just turn it on NBC and Mike Tirico's breaking down the Wright State baseball game, right? Like, you just don't get it. So what we try to do is just keep track of teams throughout the week that we know we could go to. Doesn't mean we're always betting them, right? But at least for me, I'm looking at it first. And your rotation, if you build one, might be completely different, and that's perfectly fine. There are teams on here that I don't have listed that are absolute wagons. Texas, You know what I mean? And we get to bet Texas. So, yeah. But this is who I have. So I have 10, and they're not in any specific list here in terms of rankings. So, all right, first up, UCLA. They're 21-2 on the year. They're just absolutely hammering, man. Went 4-0 last week. They're averaging 9.2 runs per game, allowing 3.5. So essentially a way to kind of look at this, and again, these are just averages, right? But as you go in each week and weekend, you know, you're looking at these games, you're looking at totals, and you're thinking, well, you know, UCLA taking on, you know, Iowa or whoever you like. I've watched a lot of UCLA. I might not watch a lot of Iowa. Well, again, all we're kind of looking at here is what does a UCLA game look like? 9-3. On average, UCLA is winning games 9-3. You know what I mean? So you could use this information for run lines. You can use it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, Mississippi State. Yeah, I'll pull it back up. Mississippi State, 20-4 on the year. Went 4-0 last week. Vanderbilt absolutely smoked them, man. This team's on fire. They went through Vanderbilt this weekend, and their runs per game went up by a run. Averaging 10-point runs per game on the year. Only allowing 3.7, which is great. State, on average, winning games 10-4. Georgia Tech, 19-5. Went 2-2 last week. You know, they're going to be one of those, like, they're a wagon, of course. But they're going to have some slip-ups, too. They're not perfect. Which is okay, though, because it's going to keep the market just a little bit down the juice on their money lines. All right, averaging 12 runs per game on the year. Only giving up 4.8, which is outstanding considering how many runs they give up and how many arms they probably use, young dudes. Solid. UC Santa Barbara, 15-6 on the year. Okay, this is the first team that we need to talk about. All right. Now, not that we're giving up on Santa Barbara. They went 1-2 last week. Fine with it. Now, Tizzle nailed it right here. UCSB, UC Santa Barbara, an under wagon. Absolutely that. So this is where the rotation comes into play as well. We list Santa Barbara. Doesn't mean that we have to be playing them on money lines, right? Exactly what you just said. We could be looking at them in terms of unders. So Santa Barbara averaging 5.8 runs per game, only allowing 2.8. So again, Santa Barbara, like as you see the 5.8 runs per game, 2.8 runs per game allowed, right? So look at the delta between the two and look at all these teams, right? Georgia Tech, that's an 8-run margin on average, right? Doesn't mean they win every game that way, obviously, but Mississippi State, 6-7 run differential, right? UCLA, 6-run differential. Santa Barbara sitting at 3. So, as Tizzle was just saying, it might be smarter that we look at these Santa Barbara unders as opposed to necessarily going to Santa Barbara money line, which we normally do. Which again, I'm not falling off the Gaucho bandwagon whatsoever. But what we are going to run into is that this 3-run differential, it's scary because you have a slip up one way or the other in one inning, and it can get tough. So, yeah, Tizzle, great point right there. And Santa Barbara, we might have to switch up. Who knows? But we'll keep paying attention there. Virginia, 20-5 on the year, averaging 10 runs a game. We talked about them on Fridays, or game one's a series. They dominate, giving up 5.7 runs per game. Now, here's another thing. All right, we talked about Virginia Tech giving up a bunch of runs. We might want to look at Virginia, too, because that's a 15-run average game that they're having this year. UCLA, on average, 12 runs a game, right? Both teams combined. Mississippi State, on average, 14 runs per game. Georgia Tech, 16. Santa Barbara, 8. Virginia, almost 16. So Virginia, not only in terms of a wagon of this team wins games, but if we're going to get, and it clearly depends on who they're playing, but if we're going to get 10.5s, 11.5s on Fridays and Saturdays, we might have to pay attention here. So, all right. So that's the first time. And again, they're not ranked. Like, I'm not going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Like that. Because look at Southern Cal. 24-1 on the year. Now, their runs per game offensively, it's not bad. It's not great, but certainly not complaining about it. They're averaging 6.8 runs per game. They're only giving up 1.8. So this team is dominating. They went 5-0 last week. Again, I know when we're recording this, I believe that they're losing pretty badly. But again, USC on the weekends, man. Their number one doesn't give up runs. Their number two doesn't give up runs. Either does everybody else. So USC continues to dominate. Another team we might want to look at unders. You see it on average of 25 USC games this year. It's averaged to about, what is that? 8.6 total runs. Yeah. So we're starting to get a big, picture. There's been a lot of unders, man. Southern Miss 19-5 on the year, 6.2 runs per game, only giving up 3.3. Went 3-1 last week. Again, we've seen it with Southern Miss, another team that's really good, but their margin for error is not large, man. You look at a differential here of 3 runs. We're going to run into problems with Southern Miss. Now, Southern Miss is going to win way more games than they lose. Clearly, they're 19-5. However, when we're playing this dangerous game of parlays like we do, we're going to have to watch out for these pitfalls, right? Because Southern Miss, as good as they are, if you're not hitting the ball, if you're, averaging 6.2 runs per game, which they are, buddy, doesn't leave us much room for error. So circle Southern Miss that we like them, but we saw it this past weekend. We're gonna run into issues with that. We'll run into issues with it with SC. But if SC's pitching like they are, get out of town. But any of these teams that are basically under 7 runs per game on average, I'm not saying not saying it's concerned whatsoever. But you do want to pay attention to it because you will run into just some issues from time to time. Florida State 19-4 on the year. Went 3-1 last week. 8.9 runs per game on average, giving up 3.6. Good numbers here for Florida State. If you look at it, basically 13 runs a game. Standard fare, 12.5 is what generally totals are going to be for Florida State games. So it absolutely makes sense. Putting up almost 9 runs a game. Offensively is fantastic. Pitching staff doing their job as well, man. This Florida State team is excellent. So we are going to see them this weekend big time. Clemson. Okay, here's number 2. Here's the second team that we need to start paying attention to because this is 2 weekends in a row now that Clemson has gotten beat up on. Okay, here's the other thing. They play really good competition. So we might get our understanding of just how good Clemson is and, where their faults are. 18-7 on the year, 6.9 runs per game on average, 3.7. So look at the difference of that. All right. Look at the difference between them and Florida State. Florida State, on average, you're getting 2 additional runs of differential. Again, I'm not saying that this is apples and orange, X's and O's, all that, whatever cliche you want to use. But these teams that are under 7 runs, you grimace a little bit when you see them because, like, Clemson's good. They've ran into some really tough teams. And this is going to happen to other teams. Trust me. This is a long season. You're going to have some of these teams that pop up. USC is going to have bad weekends. It's going to happen. Everyone's going to. You know what I mean? It's baseball. But we might have to replace Clemson. I don't know. So keep an eye on them, but I don't go into a weekend with a bunch of Clemson optimism right now. So if you're somebody that you kind of play the same game of pairing money lines and parlays, etc., be careful with Clemson. I'm going to be too. Again, doesn't mean we won't bet on them, but yeah. All right, finally, Auburn, 19-4, went 2-2 last week. I know 2-2 doesn't, quote, look great. Auburn had a good weekend. Auburn had a good weekend. All right. 7.1 runs per game on average, only giving up 2.9. So Auburn is right here in that beautiful spot, man. Over that 7 number. And again, I understand 7.1, but again, we're not putting that line as like, oh, that's hitting below 200. No. That's a 300 line. It's a good line. But only giving up 2.9 runs. Yeah, Thizzle, both losses to Texas. Agreed. Texas is a wagon. I have no issues with where Auburn is. Yeah, agreed. But like we said, went 2-2, and we're gonna see, man. Auburn's a good team, but the run differential will get them too. If you get one of those games to where they just can't get over 5, could be trouble. But we're not, at least knock on wood. I don't want to project and put on the boys. We won't have any of those games. No. But Auburn, it's another good look right here. If you're somebody who bets team totals, this is good information to have. Again, I know that this isn't groundbreaking information, right? But it definitely does help. You start to put, especially some of these totals. Auburn, another team. I mean, on average, that is exactly 10 runs a game, right? They start hanging up 12.5s, 13.5s. We might be margin betting. We might be betting on Hoss keeps going. So, anyways, just some thoughts that we have. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right. We will get out of here. It's going to be a great week 7. It's going to be a great Tuesday, Wednesday, all of it. I'm not going to list every day of the week. I wouldn't want that. All right. Everybody, it's going to be a wonderful evening. Let's hit the rest of these bets. We'll be live normal time, 10 a.m. Eastern. But until then, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets, and we will see you soon. Thanks.
Who's got it better than us? No!